The night pressed heavy against the city. Buildings loomed like silent giants, their windows glowing faintly with warm light. None of that warmth ever reached the ground below. Down on the street, where broken signs buzzed in street lamps, flickered with tired sparks, the air felt colder, harsher, and lonelier. Rainwater ran along the edges of the sidewalk, carrying scraps of paper and cigarette butts, twisting them into little rivers that glistened under neon reflections. Cars passed in the distance, their tires hissing on the wet road, but no one here looked twice at the figure sitting on the stone steps of a boarded-up shop. She was hunched forward, her back curved as though the weight of the entire city pressed down on her shoulders, her arms wrapped tightly around a small child who nestled against her chest. The boy was thin, his cheeks pale, his tiny chest rising and falling with fragile effort. Over him, she draped a blanket so worn and thin that the drizzle soaked through within minutes, leaving dark blotches on the fabric. She clutched it anyway, pulling the edges together with trembling fingers, trying to trap any trace of heat between their bodies. Her knuckles were white, her fingernails broken, her hands raw from cold and hunger. The camera of the world would have zoomed close now, lingering on her face. It was a face young enough to still carry traces of beauty, but lined too deeply with exhaustion. Her lips were dry and cracked, her eyes large and dark, filled with the kind of hollow fear that came from nights spent listening to the growl of hunger in her child's stomach. She glanced around often, her gaze snapping to every sound, bottle rolling across the street, a door slamming far away, the rattle of chains from a passing bicycle. Her body was tense, coiled like prey that expected a predator at any second. She whispered to the boy, rocking him slightly, "Just sleep. Stay with me." Her voice broke in the middle, softer than the hum of the streetlight above her. The child stirred and coughed, a small, wheezing sound that made her tighten her grip on him, as though her arms alone could fight against sickness, cold, and fate. Time moved slowly in that corner of the city. People walked past, their coats pulled tight, their eyes fixed ahead. Some noticed the woman and child, but their gazes slipped away quickly, as if acknowledging them might demand more than they were willing to give. A man lit a cigarette at the bus stop across the road. A orange tip flared, glowed, and then dimmed with each drag. He looked in their direction once, then turned his back. The city was always full of eyes, but not all eyes could see. Then came the footsteps. First faint, blending with the rain, but soon distinct, low, firm, deliberate. She tensed instantly, her heartbeat racing. Fear sparked in her eyes. Pulled her boy closer, adjusting the blanket, curling her shoulders to shield him. The sound grew nearer until a pair of worn boots stopped. Just at the edge of her small patch of shelter, she looked up. The figure before her was another woman. Her coat was long, heavy, and damp with rain. In her arms, she carried a small bundle wrapped in cloth. Her hair was tied back, strands sticking to her face, which was pale in the flickering light. She stood still, just watching for a moment. Her eyes did not have the sharpness of a passerby in a hurry. They had something heavier, slower, almost haunted. The mother on the steps felt her throat close. "Please," she whispered, her voice nearly breaking. "We have nothing left. Please don't take him." The other woman shook her head, not moving closer yet. Her gaze lowered to the boy, then lifted back to the mother. No words came. Instead, she slowly crouched down, placing her bundle carefully on the wet step. Hands rough, strong, yet trembling, slightly unfolded the cloth. Inside was a thick blanket, woolen, heavy, still carrying the faint smell of cedar and smoke, as if it had been stored away, but cared for. She lifted it, spreading it gently, without asking, without ceremony. She draped it across the sleeping child. The boy sighed, almost instantly calmer, his body sinking deeper into warmth it hadn't known in weeks. His hand slipped free, brushing against the stranger's wrist before curling around it in a reflex of trust. The mother gasped, "Dad," tears filling her eyes so quickly she couldn't hold them back. "Why? Why would you?" The woman lifted her gaze. The streetlight caught her sleeve, where a black armband was stitched. On her coat pocket, a faded insignia soldier's mark. Her lips pressed together before she finally spoke, her voice low, hoarse but steady. This was his. He doesn't need it anymore. But your boy does. The mother stared, silent tears cutting down her cheeks. She shook her head weakly. I can't. This is yours. The widow, because now it was clear she was a widow, shook her head. Eyes glistened with a pain carried too long. It was his. And he's gone. If it can keep one child alive tonight, then it still means something. For a long moment, the world was still. Rain whispered against the pavement. A car passed, with headlights sweeping across their faces. The camera closes in, the widow's fingers resting briefly against the boy's forehead, her touch trembling as if she touched a memory rather than flesh. Her lips quivered, but no tears fell. She'd already cried them long ago. She began to rise, ready to leave. But the child's tiny hand tightened around her wrist, refusing to let go. She froze, looking down. Ah! The faintest smile flickered across her lips, a smile torn from grief. Reshaped by hope, the mother covered her face with her hands, sobbing into them, her body shaking, but this time not with despair, this time with release. With something that felt like mercy, the music swelled softly. Strings and piano rising in warmth that contrasted the cold around them. The street lamp above steadied its glow, bathing them in golden light, as though for just this moment, the city allowed itself to care. The camera lingers on the boy. He lies wrapped now in two blankets, the thin, fragile one of survival, and the heavy, warm one of sacrifice. His breathing deepens. His lips curl faintly into the shadow of a dream-dashed smile. The widow steps back slowly, her eyes still fixed on the boy, then on the mother. She nods once, a silent promise, before turning into the rain. Her figure blurs into shadow, but the blanket remains. Carrying both her grief and her gift, the frame holds on the mother and child. The mother leans down, pressing her cheek to the blanket, her tears soaking into it. She whispers something no one else can hear. Perhaps it was thank you. Perhaps it was don't leave us. Perhaps it was nothing at all, just the sound of a heart breaking and healing at once. As the scene fades, as the music lingers, soft, aching, then swelling into something tender, something that carries both sorrow and hope. The rain continues. But in this corner, the night no longer feels as merciless. Fade to black.